Hi, my name's Grace and I'm the Director of R&D, including production.
Hi, I'm Aprum and I am Director of ICT.
I'm Achai and I'm the Director of Marketing and Promotions.
Hi, I'm Tarek. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Honkai Express, and today we will be presenting the Investor Presentation 2020.
Our Hong Kong-based entity will take the form of a restaurant, serving seasonal meals based on the 6 traditional seasons professed by the Binage. Meals will be accompanied by decorative art pieces by the works of artists and weavers from the Gumbalano area and surrounding regions. These artworks will be directly imported from the center. Hong Kong is currently in dire conditions, with a decline in GDP, employment, and the performance of the tourism industry as a whole. However, these are the effects of the global pandemic, and the Hong Kong government is devising methods to attract more Chinese and global tourists. So we do have hope that once this virus has been resolved, Hong Kong will eventually re-emerge as a profitable marketplace. To establish Honkai Express, we'll first have to apply for the Certificate of Incorporation. Then, we'll select an appropriate venue by taking into account factors such as proximity to competitors, followed by the multi-step, lengthy process of submitting an application for the general restaurant license. Afterwards, we'll have to hire some staff under the Work Pass scheme to allow expatriate employees to carry out employment abroad. Since there is growing concerns regarding cultural preservation from Chinese residents, our target audience will primarily be younger residents as they are less skewed by anti-Chinese sentiments. Therefore, our marketing strategy will consist of social media presence and the issuing of rewards points.
Hong Kong became a colony of the British Empire and has just over a population of 7.5 million people, with a 0.8% growth rate. The current conversion rate is $1 to 5.57 Hong Kong dollars, and is that in 2017 had 27 million visitors alone, accounting for 10.4% of the world tourism GDP. Currently, women in Hong Kong have a higher life expectancy of 6 years. Hong Kong has a low infant mortality rate and deaths under 5 rate being just under 1.9 children per 1,000 births. Similar to Australia, Hong Kong has an education system ranging of a 12-year program. The average salary in Hong Kong is much higher, being 105,000 Australian dollars, and currently men have a higher average wage compared to women. Hong Kong has a protective principal law, meaning we will need to maintain compliance with the current business laws and register the company with the Office of Hong Kong. Hong Kong typically carries a centralised business approach. This will create a smooth transition process as it's similar to our current businesses in Australia. We believe some issues may arise between employee culture as well as difference in gender, and believe that with the right approach we will be able to improve those standards. We found that through using Hofstede's cultural principles, we found that Australia rated higher in individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, and indulgence, whereas Hong Kong rated higher in power distance and long-term orientation.
Hong Kong is a small Asian country. Hong Kong hotel and restaurant market enjoys the highest revenue in the whole Asia. A simple tax system that permits the maximum earning is the main reason for the foreign investors to come and set up their business in the Hong Kong. A solid infrastructure that can support the business to work and grow more effectively.
Corporate and business operational structure in Hong Kong will mirror that of the existing business and corporate model in Australia's standard model, as Hong Kong's workforce shares commonalities in how their employees react well to fixed hierarchy in a workplace. Simply put, each department will have a head of manager and they will be supervised under their department directors, whom will track the progress of each head of manager's projected goals and results. And each director management team will report to the board of directors team, who work alongside the senior executives and chief officers. Relationships between present entities and the new entity would include learning of the new culture and the refining of current policies and methods to incorporate the effective ways of the new entity amongst the current methods of the current entity to gain the best of both worlds.
Honkai Express will be the first of its kind in Asia, and that allows the opportunity to establish a first impression well within the ability to quickly learn the cultural likes and dislikes of the business during the initial stages. It also gives the confidence to the business of first in, first serve. Thus, this time is now better than ever to begin expansion internationally. And Hong Kong has been chosen due to its well-developed economy on top of the pre-existing trade agreements, which proves familiarity with the outside nations and a warmer welcoming into their corporate world.
To aid in mediating any cultural disputes that may arise, it is highly important that we establish a universal code of conduct for both entities and some needed supplementary contracts. For this, we can refer to the social contracts theory, which states that there exist fundamental rights such as the UN's human rights and individualistic moral principles. Aside from that, Honkai Express should continue to place sustainable practices at the core of its corporate governance in order to realize its benefits. An additional way that we'll do this is by getting Fair Trade certified to assure Hong Kongers that we support local farmers.
A budget of 200,000 Australian dollars has been identified in order to fund the expansion of our restaurant. This involves renting a shop, purchasing goods, setup costs, additional marketing and HR expenses. It will also take around 12 weeks to get our restaurant up and running to full functionality with the involvement of the Hong Kong government for all planning.
HR issues will be dealt with as strictly and immediately as possible. Some HR issues considered for expansion will include the hiring of the suitable and capable employee, the welfare of all current and future employees, and the scope of duties being realistic for all current and future Australian and Hong Kong employees. Oversight for new corporate entity employment practices will also be prudent in practice, as the current employment practices in Australia and Hong Kong are different from the very mentality of an employee to the employment process and job criteria.
Currently, robots are becoming popular in the restaurant sector in Hong Kong. Many business owners are relying on robots for cooking as well as doing the job of waiter, as they are more reliable. Incremental guests such as mobile ordering outposts within a corporate office will attract more guests who might not come into the restaurant.
What we, directors, expect from shareholders is a vote of confidence in our ability to pursue this global expansion by successfully raising the required capital via the upcoming pre-IPO offered in the next few coming weeks. The capital raised will allow for international regulatory requirements, international legalities, and licensing, marketing, hiring, and the expansion's operational cost and the capital expenditure. Through this internal capital raising, we hope to focus on transitioning from a local Australian business with a dream to a multinational company with strong global awareness and a strong, steady, and significant return on investment.